What do editors look for when vetting evocative autoethnographies, and how has this approach evolved? Hello, I'm Marlon Harrison, founder and editor-in-chief of the Autoethnographer Literary and Arts magazine. The Autoethnographer is a digital nonprofit dedicated to presenting the creative side of autoethnography. By developing a refereed open-source publication featuring evocative personal stories of cultural experience presented in an array of modalities, we aim to support emerging authors and artists, to promote cultural diversity and appreciation, and to celebrate creative expression as a vehicle for shared understanding and positive change. As we are not an academic journal, however, one of the more challenging aspects of editing the magazine has been establishing the review process. As such, this presentation will respond to the questions: what do editors look for when reviewing evocative autoethnographies for a non-academic publication, and how has this process evolved throughout the magazine's first year? Members of the magazine's editorial board will address the development of our vetting system, the significance of a writer's or artist's memo, some of the rhetorical tensions we face when reviewing, and conclude by offering strategies to autoethnographers interested in publication. Part 1. How has this process evolved? The Autoethnographer began accepting submissions in June 2021. Due to the various genres of work we receive, we require an author or artist memo that contextualizes or explains the submission in relation to autoethnography. The memo answers the questions: how is this work autoethnographic, and which cultures or cultural issues are being addressed? Here's an example. The Closet in the Classroom responds to the question, what was it like being a queer gaijin sensei or foreign teacher at the turn of the millennium in Western Japan? Using story to report cultural experience, Closet autoethnographically presents the anxieties, choices, and progress I made understanding how to construct, reveal, and perform a queer sexual identity in light of my developing teacher identity. The editorial process begins with editors reading submissions, either accepting with revision, or rejecting work, and providing brief written feedback. Initially, there was no rubric or criteria. Our own definitions of autoethnography guided our evaluations. 3 readers were assigned to each submission, and the author's artist memos helped contextualize the more abstract work such as poetry, video, and performance. Editors agreed to support the development of works that showed promise, reflecting our editorial philosophy of nurturing new authors and artists. But as our editorial board grew, we realized that we needed a standard rubric for vetting with clear criteria. As of January 2022, editors now begin by considering how submissions illustrate the above characteristics of autoethnography, as well as its purposes as shown on the next slide. For example, working from insider knowledge and making work accessible. However, our experiences in the world of literary magazine publication showed us that we had adopted an academic journal approach to editing. Lit mags don't give feedback, nor do they nurture promising work. As editor-in-chief, I also began to feel uncomfortable about offering opportunities for writers to revise their compositions, but not to folks submitting songs, photos, or videos. So we decided to keep things simple, especially in light of the increase of submissions we were enjoying. No more feedback and no more acceptance with revisions and mentoring. We were going full lit mag style. We did feel that the memo was key to the success of many of our contributions, and as such, we decided that we would request memo revision as needed. More recently, however, after growing our editorial board and reconsidering our mission yet again, we've moved back to a philosophy of nurturing any submissions we receive, no matter the genre. Part 2. What do editors look for? The magazine takes autoethnography to a different level of freedom, experience, and self-expression. It keeps autoethnography but drops the element of research to allow writers to express themselves in a variety of ways. Being a literary and arts magazine, we acknowledge the limitations of some art forms in achieving the full academic autoethnography as a research method. The rhetorical tensions can be addressed by the author's memo, which also allows the author to address those limitations. It is the flash of personality and identity, the moment of healing or of deep introspection that I look for. I want to leave a piece feeling like I know the author all the better simply by reading their work. I am looking for narratives that provide thoughtful, powerful, and compelling imagery or commentary in whatever area the artist chooses to submit. Accessibility is important in a piece. I do look for the narrative to connect and speak to wider things in society. I look to see that the contributor is concerned with the cultural issue and presents cultural inquiry in some way. I also look for a strong memo contextualizing the work as an autoethnography and clearly defining and discussing the cultural issue being examined. I look for works that use personal experience to explore culture. I want to see personal experience used as a way to reflect and comment on the society and cultures that surround us. Mills wrote that we should explore history and biography and the relations between the two within society. History meant the larger social context, while biography is the personal, your story. What I am looking for is how does your story inform the readers about a larger story? Part 3. What strategies do we recommend? Lena Faye Samoy explains, whilst respecting the integrity of autoethnography as an established research method, the autoethnographer aims to make room for other art forms and acknowledge their autoethnographic value. Lena continues, my advice to those who are interested in publishing with us is to familiarize themselves with autoethnography and understand its basic difference from autobiography. Focus on lived experience and explore a meaningful phenomenon whilst remaining faithful to your chosen art form. Dilek Isler Hayerli suggests contributors look for the emotions, feelings, and reactions of the researcher towards a specific situation. I would like to see the crisis or dilemma felt, if there are any during the research. Sandra Faulkner writes, when I am reading a submission, I want to be transported into the world the author has created, to forget that I'm reading a submission and to be completely immersed in the piece. Nadine Kaher asserts that the focus is what is behind the word's expression and is more of the feelings associated with a culturally specific situation. Nadine continues, it's more like living the experience with the writer or artist to understand their perspectives, challenges, experiences, and so on. Marlon Harrison explains, the work should ultimately be a story, no matter the medium, and that story should concern a specific cultural issue. Help us understand how that story celebrates, interrogates, or illuminates a specific cultural context or phenomenon. This is where you and your lived experience come in. And stories take many forms. Photos, drawings, dance, music, video, art, and performance are all possible modes of autoethnographic storytelling, concludes Marlon. After a year and a half of publishing authors and artists from around the world, the autoethnographer is still growing and developing. Just wait until you see what we have in store for the future: student scholarships, educational workshops, and our first print anthology. We hope you'll stop on by and visit us at theautoethnographer.com. We accept submissions 365 days a year.